Ade reports.
Based on the approval of the council, the organized private sector, represented by the Nigerian Economic Summit Group, the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, the National Association of Chambers of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture, NASIMA, the Nigerian Association of Small and Medium-Scale Enterprises, among other groups, will be integrated in the activities of the National Council on Skills. The meeting, chaired by Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, also resolved to, among other things, encourage the establishment of state councils on skills to complement and replicate efforts made at the national level in order to deeply tackle the issue of skills gap across the country. Vice President Osinbajo said it was clear the private sector has critical roles to play in resuscitating many of the skills centers across the country, stating that the sector is better positioned to determine the needs of industries. Kano State Governor Abdullahi Ganduje also shared lessons learned from operationalization of the Kano State Skills Acquisition Center in collaboration with the Dangote Foundation to back up the resolution.
We have observed that there is a missing link, there is a gap between our university graduates and the employability of those graduates in the market as of today. So in order to fill that gap, there must be some discussions on how to have functional skill acquisition centers all over the country, and those skill acquisition centers that are down or virtually dead must be put into use. But in order to do that, there must be a framework for that. So
Council also approved the adoption of the revised Nigerian Skills Qualifications Framework presented by the Executive Secretary of the National Board for Technical Education, Professor Idris Bugaje, to have a more standardized framework for the certification of skills in the country. The Council, among others, also endorsed the report of the interministerial team on training of youth on relevant trades and skills, especially the subcommittee's proposals on training model in the State House. Chide Unifadi, NTA News.
To electoral matters now, Citizens Center for Election Monitoring and Observation, a civil society group, says the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, needs to be proactive in checking unguarded utterances from political actors in order not to polarize the polity and scuttle hitch-free elections. Director of the group, Dr. David Israel, gave the indication at a press conference in Abuja. Ikechukwu Ndukwe reports.
To commence the forthcoming 2023 general elections with the state governorship and legislative polls. This will go a long way in ensuring smooth elections and seamless transition, as well as protecting the homeland security.
Going by the number of presidential candidates seeking the mandate of Nigerians to occupy the seat of the president, there is no doubt that the assistance is required to douse tension and conduct hitch-free polls. Citizens Center for Election Monitoring and Observation says to avoid unnecessary bloodletting that usually accompanies elections in Nigeria and deflates needless rerun of elections, INEC should start with Cuba and state assembly elections.
Strategies of unleashing terror to deter voters can best be countered by conducting the state elections prior to the presidential and national assembly polls. The teeming masses shall own the process and wholeheartedly participate if the order of elections is tilted in favor of the gubernatorial and state legislative polls that are by far much more closer to them than the federal elections.
The group says previous elections in that sequence were fairer and devoid of heated tensions. Ikechukwu Ndukwe, NTA News.
Still on elections, the Minister of Police Affairs and the service chiefs have promised to work as a team to ensure the 2023 general elections are hitch-free and reflect the will of the people. This was at the ongoing conference for senior police officers in Owerri, Imo State. Francis Form reports.
Conducting a peaceful and credible elections the world over is hinged on the electoral body and the security agencies. It is in the realization of this objective that the top brass of the police force is mapping out strategies on election security management in Owerri, the Imo State capital.
This underscores the imperative of the Nigerian police review its achievements in the various previous elections nationwide and evolve new strategies for improved performance with regards to improving security, safety, and a peaceful environment before, during, and after upcoming general elections early next year.
We'll be there to give all the support in order to ensure that what Mr. President desires for Nigerians, which is to have a smooth transition from the coming elections, will be achieved. I want to assure Nigerians that the 2023 general election will be the best. We shall critically and professionally review the pattern and trends of crime.
For the IGP, the Force Intelligence Bureau has undertaken a comprehensive 2023 election threats analysis, which highlights flashpoints across the 774 local government areas of the Federation and necessary measures worked out.
This report will be utilized to guide our appreciation of the security space as we fine-tune our election security action plan. The outcome will be critical to peace and security of our democratic process.
With the theme, the imperative of a Nigeria Police strategic plan for peaceful elections, the conference is the third in the series. From Owerri, the Imo State capital, Francis from NTA News.
Away from electoral matters now, the Office of the Head of the Civil Service of the Federation has, through the Integrated Personnel Payroll Information System (IPPIS), detected 1,618 officers with illegal or fake employment letters. The service disclosed this during its 2023 budget defense at the Senate. National Assembly correspondent Mobolaji Moribiri has the details.
It was the turn of the Office of the Head of the Civil Service of the Federation to appear before the Senate Committee on Establishment and Public Service to give account of the outgoing fiscal allocations.
We have a total budget of 10,668,453,650 for the Head of Service and its agencies. And what are the achievements? About 1,618 officers whose letters of employment were either fake or illegal have been detected.
The committee reacted to some revelations from the presentation.
You can take up 3,000 plus and it won't matter. You can take up 1,000 and it won't matter. Is it safe to say you are bloated?
And even thousands have been sent to ICPC because they have not verified their records. From where I stand, employment is not going on. And those who are there, a lot of them have issues with their records. So what exactly is going on? How are you coping?
We did not suspend them on the nominal road. So they are still working. But instead, we discussed with the Commission and we agreed that the ICPC should urgently carry out investigation.
Meanwhile, the Pension Transitional Arrangements Directorate has appealed to the legislators for more staff strength in the 2023 appropriations.
Recently, we've been having a situation whereby our staff have been exiting, maybe for greener pastures or for whatever reason. So our staff strength has been going down.
We will continue to reach out to all concerned, whether in this capacity or even outside.
The committee also looked at the budget proposal of other agencies present from the National Assembly. Mobolaji Moribiri, NTA News.
Commuters in Lagos are pleading with concerned authorities to resolve issues that led to a strike by Lagos commercial bus drivers. Annie Daniels reports that the action has brought much sufferings on the passengers.
On a normal day, Obalende would have been very busy and noisy with commercial buses all over the place. The story is different today.
All those buses was complaining that the kind of money that the Agbo take from them is too much. Then I will pay this one, you pay this one, you pay this one.
If you are in a bus, if you pass a particular place, you see they'll stop, and they'll give them money. And if you still come back and pass, and every time they'll be like, I passed there, I've given them money. You say no, you still have to pay.
That
they don't go on strike.
This, of course, has brought untold suffering on Lagosians, most of whom depend solely on the services of these danfo to get to their destinations daily.
I was late to school and I was even flawed. I missed something that, like the information that was given on the assembly ground.
If you calculate all those money, you will see that you are moving without no money. So you would like to carry high price so that you can cover yourself.
Only few shuttle buses, popularly called Korobe, were around, and the chairman says it is because they are regulated. Even with that, commuters are not sure what would happen next at the close of work today and days to follow. In Lagos, Annie Daniels, NTA News.
This is Panorama on the network service of the NTA. Let's take a short break. There will be more news when we return. Don't forget to follow this news broadcast live on our website at nta.ng/live and all our other social media handles.
Coronavirus is dangerous. It can kill. When you see this sign, high fever, cough, shortness of breath, drowsiness, pneumonia, don't panic, don't hide, don't embark in self-medication. Promptly visit the nearest medical facility. Report all cases to the nearest hospital. Prevention is key. Avoid contact with infected persons. Avoid crowded areas as much as possible. Wash your hands regularly. Use hand sanitizers. Your life is precious. Stay alive. Live long. Live right. This message is sponsored by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture and the Nigerian Film Corporation. Nigerian Film Corporation, powering possible.
Thanks for being there. From the north to the south, east to west, the story is the same. Flood taking over homes and affecting economic activities of the people. Annie Daniels in this report takes a look at why this has persisted and the way out.
Days to weeks, flooding has continued to ravage the nation. Entire communities under and rendering hundreds homeless. For instance, Kogi, Delta, Edo, Bayelsa and River states are among states that are yet to recover from the flood that ravaged their communities.
It's a thing that is unimaginable for us right now, but what we're thinking about is the safety and how my people can at least see food and water to drink, just to be alive, and mattresses for them to sleep because they are in the camps and most of them are lying on the floor.
The narrative is not different in Lagos State, where residents are still counting their losses.
The flood started by August. I think we use 3 months before we go.
To cook na wahala, to eat na wahala. Na canoe they use. All the people where they live ugly to na canoe they use.
I'm sure the water will fill my head. Very plenty. Even last 2 weeks, water was just like want to go. But it did not full back again this week when the rain fall.
We are on the move now to mitigate the effect in case if we have this another of such occurrence.
Like in previous years, NIMET had asked those living in flood-prone areas to relocate because of the impending flood.
My kingsmen are such that they love their home and they have this sense of pride that, you know, this is my home and why would a natural disaster send me out of my home?
Those people that they are living in that Makoko, if they have the money to go to Lekki, they will go.
The raging flood, according to these respondents, is a work of fate and can be contained by discouraging deforestation, as well as other human activities that give rise to flooding.
Listening to daily weather forecast. Secondly, your drainage in front of your house, clear it. Even if the government is not aware, clear it.
In Lagos, Annie Daniels, NTA News.
Joining me live via Zoom is an environmentalist, National Vice President, Society of Landscape Architects of Nigeria, Dr. Fadera Williams. Thanks for joining us on Panorama today.
Yeah, good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
All right, talking about the flood, have you seen the devastation caused by flooding in different parts of the country? Are there common threads among the incidents?
Absolutely. It's really appalling and sad to discover that we have not learned from our mistakes. An event like this happened in 2020, where we had about 320 local governments affected across 35 states of the nation, including the FCT. And it was really sad. Millions were displaced, about 1.3 million. Several lives were lost in thousands. And here again, in 2022, we are faced with the same challenge. And it's so sad because it's related to the same release of the Lagdo Dam in Cameroon. There's always a blame game. The government is claiming that the Cameroonians did not let them know, did not alert them in time. And so we see that the trend is that it's a repetitive pattern where we have flooding that is induced by release of dams in surrounding neighborhoods, affecting the terrain and thereby displacing so many people. But apart from that, we have the high incidence of communicable diseases happening as a result of these floods. It's so sad and appalling, and our response systems are not prepared to handle this kind of scenario.
All right, there were early signs warning people about this devastation. So what really went wrong?
Well, when it comes to the predictions and the purpose of government to ensure that the citizens are carried along, I would say that there is not enough information dissemination. Truthfully, there were warnings, and there were, pre-information. But you see, the people who need this information the most are the common men out there. And the information has to be disseminated in such a way that it is digestible by the common man. They understand what it means, and apart from that, there has to be a succor or a buffer for them, because you cannot tell someone that it's going to be flooding. For example, whenever there are hurricanes in other parts of the world, in the Western world, there are always already prepared camps for these people to stay in. And so they're already aware. They are aware months ahead, and they already have a cautionary effect of where they would stay during the period where this event eventually takes place. But in our own case, we just want people leave your house. Leave your houses to where? So there is a mismanagement of information, and there's a lacuna between the people who are affected and the people who are supposed to be regulatory bodies, who is supposed to be our government, who is supposed to hold their hands on the populace. I mean, there are so many places that could have been prepared as camps. There are schools in other parts that are not directly affected by these floods that could have been prepared. But then we didn't have that happen, and here we have what we have.
All right, now the buzzword is intervention, either to mitigate the sufferings of victims or to address factors of flooding. What are the experts saying in that direction?
Okay, well, as a Landscape Architects Association of Nigeria, we actually brought out a communique when all these flooding issues came up. And personally, as an honor personality who is usually always called upon to talk about environmental issues, especially when it's like the times of flooding, I am, unhappy to say that these methods that we have been talking about for several years, over and over again, has become like a broken record. A very important fact to note is that we have spoken, and I have spoken on television severally, about how that green infrastructure in the urban areas are very important in helping to ameliorate and mitigate the effects of flooding. Now, be it flash flooding, be it flooding that comes as a result of a release of dams, irrespective of the kind of flooding it is, the international world have developed thinking methods that have been proven and have been used, that have been successful. An example of this is the catchment flood modeling method, which models the flood that is expected to hit a particular area, and also models the avenues for the easy dissemination of this excess water through what is called the sponge cities method. The sponge city method is actually talking about a network of sustainable stormwater management practices that are used to ensure that excess water in areas where people have residences are trapped filtered away by vegetation, by bioswales, by rain gardens. I mean, it's been done all over the world. And interesting enough, even in Africa, in fact, the sponge cityness, if you like, of different countries as index has been measured. And Nairobi actually falls into 34% above New York and even above other cities like in Australia. And that shows that we can do this as well in Africa if we have the political will to actually ensure that we put our mouth where our money is and ensure that we actually enforce the policies that we have made. And we as experts are saying.
Thank you very much, Dr. Fadera Williams. That's all we can take on the interview. Moving on to sports now with Olumide Guntola.
Another loose header. Sabastines attempted short post kindly, and it's the first ever goal.
After losing its first Group B match, Bayelsa Queens are perfecting strategies to return to winning ways ahead of its second group game against TP Mazembe of DR Congo on Thursday at the ongoing CAF Women Champions League in Morocco to remain in contention in the championship. Similarly, Plateau United is working hard to qualify for the group stage of the CAF Confederations Cup as the team wrapped up preparations for Wednesday's clash against Al Agda of Libya in a playoff match scheduled for MKO Abiola National Stadium, Abuja, from the UEFA Champions League. With just one round of matches remaining at the group stage, 4 slots are still up for grab. In Group A, Napoli and Liverpool are untouchable, while Ajax must avoid heavy defeats to Rangers to secure Europa League spot. Encounters in Group C are mere formalities as the group is locked in place. Group D is still open as any of the teams can still qualify. Marseille will entertain Tottenham, while Sporting Lisbon takes on Frankfurt, among other matches. In boxing, it was all threes at the 123rd edition of the Lagos Boxing Show, held at the Molade Okoya Thomas Indoor Sports Hall, Teslim Balogun Stadium. A total of 10 bouts featured in different weight categories, with participation in the forthcoming National Sport Festival as focus.
This championship is helping us a lot for triumph.
In the 66 kg class, Ikmot Jinodu did not disappoint her fans as she stopped Temitope, who just returned from maternity leave. Sports update, Olumide Guntola, NTA News.
That's it on Panorama today. Do not forget that the fastest and easiest way to becoming a star is to connect with the NTA to stand against rape and rapists. I am Hinginu John Adams. Do have a splendid day.